All right, I have my watercolor painting that I was really excited about, but one of my boys spilled some water right in that area. I'm going to show you how I deal with it once it's scanned. The first thing I do is duplicate the layer just so that I'm working on a fresh new layer, exactly the same, but I keep the original thing just in case I screw up and I can go back to that. The first thing I'm going to do is select or go to these areas that just really should be white. And using the lasso tool, I will select the areas that should just be kept white. To add to your selection, you can keep lassoing, holding down the shift button, and to remove from the selection, you can hit the alt button while lassoing, and that means holding down your mouse and dragging it around to draw. And that will remove the selection if you use it while pressing down the Alt button. I'm filling them with white, hitting Alt Delete since that's my foreground color, just white. And it's going to look really fake for now because it shouldn't be bright white or have such clean lines for a watercolor painting. But I just want to kind of stencil out the way that it was supposed to be, selecting the areas that were supposed to be white. Now I'm going to make some of those edges feel less crisp using the blur tool, and that'll just help it to feel a little less fake. I like to bump back the strength so that way I can always do more and not overdo it. The next thing I'm going to worry about is the color differentiation. Using my lasso tool, again, I'm selecting where that red was spilt and it looks kind of pink. It should actually be a desaturated gray, maybe a little bit of a pink tone to it, but it's definitely too bright. So being careful with my lasso tool, pressing down as I'm drawing, I'm selecting everything that I want to be knocked back in color. Now with this area selected, I hit Command U or go down here to look for the adjustment for hue and bring down the lever for the saturation. So I have some liberty here. I could go a little rosier, a little grayer, and that way I can change it later if I want to, and you can see the difference. My final step will be in using the stamp tool and the patchwork tool. So both of these tools, I'm using the patch tool now. It's a command, or actually just press the letter J and you'll get it. What's great about it is I can select the area that's not quite natural, it's not quite right, and drag it to another area, and Photoshop will kind of piece it together for me in a more natural way. So whereas the stamp tool will take exactly what you see and place it on another area, which is also useful at times because sometimes you don't want the computer to think for you. I tend to use the patch tool as much as I can because it tends to create a fairly natural look without trying too hard. I can even use it to select these kind of harsh edges and soften them up quite a bit by just dragging them to the next color, and it'll kind of create a little bit of a blend, a gradient where I had selected that little area. So it's again going to look less like a spill and more like a just natural mush of color. So everything looks natural enough. It looks well enough. It doesn't look like there was a spill there. But there is one more additional step I'm going to take, and that is at the top of this little petal there was supposed to be these lines which actually caused the color spill. Right? They were the color that the water latched onto and created a pink area. So all I'm going to do is use the magic wand, select contiguous so that I only select one little piece at a time with a high tolerance. And that way I will select just the little top off somebody else, copy, Command C, paste, Command V, and I just play with the toggles, or you can hit Command T to transform so that way you can play with the shape of it, rotate it, and make it look just right. And there you have it. As a quick recap, we took the white, brought it back into those white little creases. We adjusted the colors to make sure that that color was gone. We used the patch and stamp tool to make sure that things looked seamless, and then copied and pasted any elements that were missing. I'll use the same principle on some more parts of this piece, as you can as well whenever you want to. I hope that that was helpful in fixing your oops mistakes in Photoshop, even with your watercolor pieces.